Yes, 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 yes. Everybody, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in to my very first official show, Papa Reu Podcast, where we're gonna make it make sense. All right. And like I said to everyone that's tuning in, I want y'all to make sure you follow me on all the platforms. Everything is PAPAREU. I got some merch online at my website, paparoo.com. You know, and like I said, I just been sitting back looking at a lot of podcasts and a lot of people that's putting out information. And when you sit back and you've been part of the culture for so long, and not on the sideline looking in at the culture, but at least actually being in the culture, seeing everything within, and then seeing a bunch of different narratives going around with certain things. I just think I'm not being. It wouldn't be right for me not to let the people or the fans know the facts, the truth, and everything that transpired within the Southern hip hop game. And not too many people are qualified to talk about it. And I must say that I'm one of the guys that's 3 decades plus that that's really qualified to speak on a whole lot of issues. I'm not gonna even say just the music issue, but just issues, period. So in my Papa Roo podcast, y'all make sure y'all gonna be hearing y'all gonna hear a lot of facts. You're gonna hear a lot of truth and facts. And the line's gonna be open also for people to even ask their questions and get it answered the right way, or we're gonna make it make sense. If we can't make sense out of it, we're gonna try our best to get all the facts and use our integrity with each conversation. So that's what it's about. So this podcast, the Papa Roo podcast, where we make it make sense with Roo, is gonna basically be for everyone who's looking for information, looking for the truth in the culture, and none of that goofy. If you're looking for that goofy stuff, or you're looking for a whole heap of drama and stuff, I don't think this gonna be the podcast for you. I mean, this one gonna be nothing but um, informational and and factual. You know. So what I wanted to do in my first episode, because I have a lot of things lined up to get done, got a lot of guests to come in, you know. But what I want to do in my first episode, let's call it like my first 3 or 4 episodes. What I want to do with those 3 or 4 episodes, I want to go ahead and really let everyone know Papa Roo, which is me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of times I'm not saying much. It's a lot of times that I let other people choose the narrative. Um, I get on a lot of other people podcasts, and I'm basically I touch a little of the subject matters that I really want to talk about. But now I open my own platform so I could really give y'all the whole shebang. Like y'all gonna hear the facts about everything. You know, like let's start off with Papa Roo. Let's start off with Ruben. Of course, a lot of people didn't even know my name is Ruben. That's where they got the Rue from, the REU. All right. I'm originally from the island of Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of people don't know where that is or whatever. I was gonna put it up on the screen, but I said let me go ahead and keep it on myself for a minute. I don't want to do too much flickering just yet. You know. Um, I came from the island of Trinidad and Tobago. Came up here. Well, before I came up as a young entrepreneur, which I was only like what about 12 going on 13. I used to sell candy on the beach in the Caribbean, and I used to sell to a lot of these the tourists. A lot of tourists used to come from like the Netherlands, the U.S., um, Europe, China. I'm talking about all over the world. And I used to meet a lot of people. I used to meet a whole lot of people with different cultures. You know, and while selling candy, me looking back at those days now is showing me that it was getting me prepared for something totally bigger. You know what I mean? For something totally bigger, which is like to be in the position that I'm in right now. You know? So looking back at everything is just showing that what's ordained is ordained. If it's for you, it's for you. You know what I mean? You just got to keep walking that righteous path. Anyway, let me fast forward. So I used to sell candy on the beach, interact with a lot of international people as a kid. Um, After I hit about like 14 years old, I ended up coming to the US. I had a brother here, and he was my older brother. He was already in the US, and he was in Houston. So, of course, when I came to the US, I came to Houston because that's where I got my brother at, my older brother, you know. And before I move on with my brother, I want to say rest in peace. He died last year. He died in last year, like November last year. So rest in peace to my brother. You know what I mean? Without him, I wouldn't even touch soil up here. You know what I mean? So rest in peace to him. Um, Came up to the US. Most people that come from the islands normally go to like the East Coast, the West Coast, or you know what I mean, or Midwest or whatever. But it's rare that you see a Caribbean guy, an island boy, come straight to the South from the Caribbean. They all go to the East Coast majority, New York especially. So that alone by itself started off a lane where I didn't know, but showing that I was going to be different because I didn't do the regular like regular island people do. Go to the East Coast, right? So being in Houston, um, I went to the first school I went to was what is Lee High School. Anybody from Houston, Texas, y'all should know Lee High School. You know what I mean? Lee High School was right there on Hillcroft between Richmond and West Park. So if you're from Houston, you know where Lee High School it was. But now it's done changed to another name. Um, it's got a whole nother name now. But that's the school I went to. Met a lot of guys there, or whatever. But for some reason, I was totally uncomfortable in Lee. Well, it was a majority Caucasian school, which I didn't have a problem with that because I dealt with a lot of Caucasian people, while I was selling my candy and stuff like this. So I didn't really, I was never the type that felt any type of pressure when it comes to um with whites and blacks, and I never felt that type of I never felt oppressed, to be honest with you. 'Cause I came up with an open mind, and like I said, I dealt with everybody on the beach, and I never had a bad experience. Okay, so with that being said, with that being said, while I was in Lee High School, the teachers and all that, I guess they're doing their job, what they do, but I wasn't used to teachers not, being personal with the students. So I kind of felt a little out of place. But nevertheless, we ended up moving to, I only spent one semester in Lee High School, 1 or 2 semesters. And um, it was a cool experience just to get my foot wet when it comes to going to school up here. But I ended up going to Jack. It just wasn't working out for me. I just wasn't comfortable. I told my brother, "Hey, man, long story short, my brother was going to TSU, Texas Southern University, in Houston, Texas. So I ended up being over there, of course, with him. We stayed right off of Blodgett and Ty Wester. To all my Houstonians in Third Ward, yeah, I'm from Third Ward. Blodgett and Ty Wester. So Jack Yates was right around the corner from where I lived. Right? I was with my brother. Rarely had anything to eat. He never had no money. I had to just figure it out. I used to go to school very early in Jack Yates just to get something to eat. Because was this one lady, man, I wish I could find this lady now. For some reason, she always used to call me and say, like she knew I didn't have a food card. Like she was just like an angel to me. But anyway, I used to get breakfast every morning from this lady. If she didn't show up, I don't get no breakfast. So I used to always go to school hoping that she worked that morning. So in Jack Yates, I went to school with Big Mo. Y'all know Big Mo, rest in peace, Big Mo. Purple stuff. Um, Dino from the group H Town. We're gonna get to all of these guys in a minute. Um, Big Pokey, rest in peace. All of these guys from Yates, man. Rest in peace to my brothers, man. Um, George Floyd, rest in peace. Rest in peace, George. I could keep going. The list goes on, but these are the four people that I want to mention right now because we all used to be skipping all three lunches. You got A, B, and C lunch. And we always used to skip all lunches, beating on the desk, performing, to be honest with you. And I used to do the little reggae stuff, used to do my little reggae. And that's how I knew that they liked it because the guys like Mo and those guys and some couple of guys from my high school, a lot of the football players especially, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. They used to skip and all the lunches and listen to us just beat on the desk, rapping and singing, doing the reggae. Big Mo used to sing. Um, my boy Mike, I heard Mike died like a week ago. Rest in peace, Mike. Um, he was another cold singer. Um, Big Mo, Dino used to come in the Dino from H Town, the lead singer. He used to come in there and do his thing, but he was always shy. He was mostly shy more than all of us. Big Pokey wasn't really rapping then. You know what I mean? But he loved the music, but he wasn't really doing any rap or none of that. So Big Mo always sang because they used to be in a group. They used to be in a group. So where am I with it? So like I said, I was doing all the reggae, hip hop type, and I made up a song called Police in a JY. Anybody from Jack Yates High School will repeat. I don't even have to say anything. They'll come on there and they see me in the mall, they see me out. The first thing they sing, Police in a JY. That's the first thing. So anytime I hear that, I say this gotta be somebody, one of my classmates, you know? So like I was a field goal kicker for the football team because of course I came from the Caribbean islands, and in the Caribbean islands, we never played American football. We played soccer, right? So I was okay in soccer. I wasn't like the best soccer player, but I could do my thing. I know the rules. I could hold the ball. I could do what I could do, you know. So in the football team, I used to hype the football team up when we go to games in the bus. So everyone wants to be in the bus where Rue at, So they want to be in the bus where I'm at because we always beat on the glass, and I start doing my reggae thing, you know. So they loved it. I loved it. You know what I mean? We went and won some games. I was a field goal kicker. So while I was in Jack Yates High School, um, we never had a soccer team. And there was a science teacher there called Mr. What was his name? I can't remember his name now. But was a science teacher there, and he was from the Middle East, right? We had a Middle East teacher in Jack Yates High School at the time I was going. And, I talked to him, he talked to me, and I was like, hey, we should go ahead and try to bring soccer inside of a school. He was like, yeah, I've been wanting to do it, but I never had no one. Never. Long story short, there was a Hispanic guy named Gustavo. Let's see if I could remember these guys' name. There was a Nigerian guy. I can't remember his name. Um, and there was two Asian guys. So it's two Asian guys, one African guy, and um, and one Middle Eastern guy. We had another field goal kicker named Purain Palavan. I know a lot of people probably know Purain. So these are all fact checks. So we both was field goal kickers. I ended up the Jack Yates football team convinced me to go and get into the talent show in Jack Yates High School, right? And this is where it all started to create who Papa Reu is. I entered I entered the competition. I was kind of scared to be honest with you because I'm like, this is so different. But my football affiliates, they love it. So hey, I guess they got me. So let me do it. Patrick Massey, what up, Patrick? Got to say what up to Patrick Massey because he was the one pushing me to do it. And he wasn't gonna take no for an answer with me doing it or not. He wasn't. Patrick wasn't gonna take no for an answer. No, he was not. He was not. So I told Patrick, I said, listen, okay, I'm gonna get into it, whatever. So I did the talent show. It was Michael Price. Anybody who's from Houston, anybody from Houston should probably know who Michael Price is. Um, he used to live right down the street from the school. I used to go rehearse at his house, and we did the talent show with that DOC beat. Do dum dum, do dum dum, do dum dum. I remember that beat. I'll never forget it. Rest in peace, Michael Price. Also, um, we did it. Had a couple other Mike and all these guys was in the talent show. They had R&B groups. They had rappers. And lo and behold, I won the talent show. I was trying to find a trophy, but I'll find it. It's somewhere in my storage. I'll find it for another show. I'll find it. So I won the talent show. The whole football team came on the stage and we started rocking. And I did a song called Police in JY. You know, Police in a JY. He said Police in a JY. And all my classmates up to today, they all know that song. If they was in Jack Yates High School at the time I was there. Everyone knew that song. All right? So moving forward, won the talent show. Um, Let me get back to the soccer team. Starting the soccer team. Of course, we only had what, like one, two, three, like five, six of us, right? So we had to make up. The other soccer team is 11, 12 people, right? We had to make up for the rest of folks. So I'm like, where would I get these other guys from? This is a all black school, and none of these guys kick no soccer ball. I said, man, how we gonna pull this off? Guess what I end up doing? I went into the weight room with all my football affiliates, Big Pokey, George Floyd, um, Rock, Patrick Massey. I'm just calling some names that I can remember off top. And I said, man, listen, I got an announcement, y'all. It's crazy that our football coach, used to call me Banana Boat. He's funny. I'm looking back at all of this right now, and it's just funny. He used to call me, "Hey, Banana Boat, go out there and kick that ball." He used to coach. What's his name? Coach McGowan. That was our head coach at the time, Coach McGowan, and all Jack Yates alumni could vouch for everything I'm saying, everything. So where am I at? So I had to make up in the soccer team. So I went in there and I said, "Listen, hey, we starting the soccer team, and I need some more players. Man, who want to play soccer, man? Let's let me know who want to play." Lo and behold, y'all would not even believe that I had at least 6 football players want to come out there and try it. And one of the 6 players was George Floyd. Now let me tell you a story about him. So we out there playing on soccer, whatever. Them guys don't know a thing. They hitting the ball down with their hands. They running into people, pushing on them. And I said, fellas, come on, come on, come on, come on. We can't be, this is not American football. We can't do it like that. It's rules to the game. So we, of course, after we practice over and over, they start getting a hang of what to do from what not to do. And for some reason, George Floyd couldn't get it. He's still slapping the ball from the air. Because remember, he was a wide receiver also in Jack Yates' varsity team that me and we both played on. So I used to tell him, hey, you know what? I'm going to put you inside of the goal to be a goalkeeper. If y'all know what a goalkeeper is, that's the one inside of the net to make the ball not go in. And I know we got FIFA in Houston, Texas also. You know what I mean? I hope I get me an endorsement or something from these folks, you know? But anyway, moving forward, he was the goalkeeper. George Floyd was my goalkeeper. And be honest with you, he did a pretty good job, to be the first, to be doing it for the first time, you know, he really surprised me. And he did a great job. He got a bunch of goals scored on him at first, but it's understandable. So that's our affiliation with me. I brought George Floyd on the soccer team. I was the captain. As a matter of fact, I brought something to show y'all. I brought something to show y'all from the soccer team, and I'll show it to y'all in a minute. I'll show y'all before we get off of here. So fast forward again. We never won any championship or anything like that in the soccer team. I was just happy that I was able to bring soccer to an all black school. I'm the one that done it, right? So if I wonder if Jack Yates have a soccer team now, I don't know, but I need to look into that. But I'm the one started the soccer team at Jack Yates. So moving forward, graduated Jack Yates. Um, I had believe it or not, I had a job. I had two jobs. One of my job was I was working at an orthodontics office, which I was doing impressions for the teeth. Like when you want to go put braces on, you got to make the mold and the impressions and stuff like that. So I was responsible for they make the mold, do the image, and I make the mold. Carve it out and get it back to the doctor, the dentist. And I used to develop the X-rays in the dark room also. Well, I love the dark room because the dark room I was able to sleep. After going out at night in the weekend and all that, the dark room, man, I used to get me a little 30 minutes in the dark room. I know a lot of people who do X-rays. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, moving forward. After that job, I worked at a shipping company. And the reason why I left the orthodontics job, and I'm going to share it with y'all, um, when I was there, I worked there for at least about 3 years after high school, right? I worked there for at least about 3 years after high school. And, you know, knew all the doctors, the nurses, everybody. I'm cool with everyone. Um, the crazy part about it is there was a new employee there, a white guy. He was a little young guy they hired, you know, which I understand because I went in there young also. And he ran back in the back of the room where I do the impressions. He ran back to the room of impressions, and he was like, "Oh, I got me my bonus for my birthday, my bonus for my." I said, "Huh?" To myself, "Bonus for your birthday?" I'm like, "Since when they giving bonus for birthdays? I've been here 3 birthdays. I ain't never got not one bonus." Was it? Believe it or not, I've been there 3 years working with them, and they never gave me a bonus on my birthday, right? And one of the nurses, this Hispanic girl lady, what's her name? Sandra. I want to say big ups to Sandra. If you're watching this, Sandra. Sandra came back in the room and say, "Hey, Rue." She called me Ruben because that's my name. "Hey, Ruben. Hey, don't say nothing. I see what happened. Hey, my husband is the manager of a shipping company. If you want, I could put a word in for you because that wasn't right what they done and etc. etc." Long story short, Sandra put the word in for me and I was gone. It didn't take me long. You know, once I see that, hey, it's not no kind of equality, and I'm just sharing this story with y'all to understand that, hey, you know, everyone has to stand up for each other when it comes to right from wrong, right? We have to stand up for each other. No matter what situation it is, do the right thing, you know? Anyway, coming back to going to going to the shipping company was right there off of I-10. The shipping company was right there off of I-10, off of it was like Crescent Lathrop. I'm trying to give y'all some drop points so y'all could, look it up. It was foreign trade shipping. That was the name of it. Anyway, getting back to being at work, started working there. I worked there for over like I worked there for maybe like 3 years, 4 years, maybe, yeah. And while I was working there, I was still doing my music thing, but I wasn't that active. I was just playing around with it here and there. And one of my I had a friend that was the brother of I had a friend that was a brother of the producer at Rap A Lot. His name was Teddy. Rest in peace, Teddy. He died in a car wreck. Um, him and his daughter, him and his son was in a car wreck, and he was saving his son and his girl, and he ended up getting paralyzed. When he reached out to like save him, he kind of reached out to reach out to like help him out, and he got end up getting paralyzed, and he ended up passing. Rest in peace to my boy Ted, man. Rest in peace to Ted. He was a good dude. He was the one brought me around Rap A Lot, and being around Rap A Lot, his brother was John Beto. A lot of people could fact check it. John Beto was his brother, and I always used to come around with Ted. So I had an opportunity while being around Rap A Lot to get on one of my first feature. And it's funny that my first feature was with one of my big homies, artists, Face Mob, which was DMG. That was Scarface's artist back then. And that was my first feature. You know, and the feature came about with Beto, you know. So I'm showing y'all how the connection came from the beginning of Papa Reu's journey to becoming Papa Reu. So I did the feature with DMG, which is one of Rap A Lot's artists, right? And still moving around, never, did no albums, none of that. I just had a sound and I just put it on in. I think the song was One Up in the Chamber. That was the name of the song. One up in the chamber, one up in the chamber, something like that. Um, After the DMG feature, me and Tony Draper with Suave House, this is another connection that I had also. And the way I made the Suave House connection, me and Tony Draper knew a mutual friend. And he wasn't really a friend of mine. He was my brother, which has passed, the one I just talked about earlier, that got me to the US. My brother was dating the mutual friend that me and Draper has, mother. And that's how I end up being by the mutual friend me and Tony Draper have, and we end up meeting and stuff like that. So that's how the relationship with me and my big bro Tony Draper came about. So with Rap A Lot, it came about with John Beto, with Switch with Suave House. It came about with the mutual friend of me and Tony Draper, which is Carl. You know what I mean? Carl is back in South Africa right now. If he's watching this, I want to say shouts out to him. He had the record company called UNI Records, right there off of Gessner and Belfort. So all my Southwest guys, if you all know about Belfort and Gessner, the UNI, and you got Raven hairstylist right next door, if y'all know about the Raven, y'all know about UNI Records, we was right there. My boy Paul Chavez used to be down there also from what's his name? The one who had Big Pokey. I got to forget the label. Forgot the label name. Anyway, moving forward, Tony Draper needed something done on 8-Ball MJG's first album. So they needed some type of island sound to it or whatever. So the mutual friend of ours, right, told Tony, hey, I got Rue could come knock it. He'd been doing da. So Tony called me over to Just Fresh Studio. Who knows Just Fresh Studio? Big ups to Just Fresh also. These are all the people that has a foundation in the Houston hip-hop culture. These are the names I'm calling that a lot of people don't call. Maybe they don't know. You know what I mean? Just Fresh Studio was 4 prominent studios in Houston. Just Fresh Studio, Uptown Recording on Rampart, Digital Services on Chimney Rock, Hot Dog Studios. These are the studios that was the foundation of the Houston sound. Destiny Child used to be up in there in digital services on Chimney Rock and Hot Dogs. H-Town used to be there. As a matter of fact, when I recorded, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna come get to that in a minute. But let me stay on the 8 Ball MJG album, On the Outside Looking In. On the Outside Looking In, 8 Ball MJG. Now that album, I did a song called Lick 'Em Up Shot, and I always remember, and I be taunting my brother Tony about it. I said, Tony, you gave me $75 to do that record. You gave me $75. But guess what? Back then, $75 was cool because remember I had a regular job. So $75 was cool, and I want to say big ups to my big homie, my big brother, for giving me that opportunity. Right? I want to say big ups to Rap A Lot also for giving me the opportunity to record one of my first major feature with with DMG. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say big ups to Rap A Lot and Suave House, which is two monumental labels in the South. You know. Now moving forward, I did the feature with Tony Draper. Then after that feature, we moved on to H-Town, the group H-Town, Knocking the Boots, H-Town, the group H-Town. So if y'all know the group H-Town, Knocking the Boots, I want to say big ups to all them boys, you know what I mean? Luke, they were signed to Luke at the time. The name of the album was Begging After Dark. On that Begging After Dark album, I end up running back into Dino after their first album. So H-Town was already on, right? H-Town was already on, and I end up running into Dino at Club Butter. And when I ran into Dino at Club Butter, oh, the magic started beginning right there. And y'all stay tuned for part 2 next Wednesday. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2 next Wednesday. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Papa Reu Podcast, and all the other social media platforms. Also, I have a big announcement. As a matter of fact, I need to tell it before I get off of here. Now, to all my subscribers on YouTube, I'm planning a live performance which hasn't been done ever by me in years. The live performance never been done. The performance ain't been done in years. I'm planning on a live performance, right? It's going to be special invited guests. It's going to be to all my subscribers. I'm doing this for all the people who support our journey with the Papa Reu Podcast. I'm doing a special, exclusive, live concert. The place to be advertised for all my subscribers. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Papa Reu Podcast, PAPAREU Podcast. And like I said, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. Part 2 of Papa Reu in the making next Wednesday. Thank y'all.